Hi, today is a great opportunity to meet Gabriel Orenstein, Latin American artist, painter, engraver, and a video artist for more than 30 years, and Mrs. Mariam Elias, a professor of history of non-Western art at Miami International University Art and Design. Hi guys, how are you?
How are you?
Good, very good.
Gabriel, I always wanted to ask you, when do images become so important in your life?
Yes, I'm trying to remember because I always was fascinated by painting and animation, films, and then when technology was available, I have the opportunity to merge both together. So the painting is an extension of in motion. So film and painting to me become one. So they blend all together perfectly. It's like the painting is still, but I can enter in the painting and navigate. And that is increase many possibilities.
Now, Gabriel, you mentioned before that you are convinced that art in motion existed in human minds since ancient Egypt civilization, even more from prehistoric cave paintings. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I always start observing every image, it can be put in motion.
I am very interested in the origins of art. I find a lot of inspiration in cave art. It looks so primitive, but there is something else. So they were maybe painters, artists, astronomers. It looks like simple objects with decorating dots or designs, but more than decoration, this is a lunar calendar. These fantastic paintings, sketches, I can see it in motion. Let's make a test. Egypt have the most mysterious sequence of images. This amazing painting looks like a storyboard. I see a lot of action in this mural. In this sequence of these characters, I can see the representation of the beginning of cinematography. Let's see. And this is how I started when I was 18, scratching on film.
So it's a still image, but this image tells me a story before and after. To me, it's like cinematic motion was already there. They don't have the complete technology that we have today, but they were doing that in a conceptual way. I can see it.
Mariam,
Yes.
as a professor of history of non-Western art, what do you think about Gabriel's reflections?
I actually totally agree with him. I 100% agree with him, especially when he said the idea of sequence, the idea of documenting in sequence. Like we always think that cave art, or maybe ancient Egyptian art, or those were like static, you know. Even that as a joke, let's say, you know, the song like "Walk Like an Egyptian," and people would think that, you know, they're walking in a static form. Well, actually, there were like a lot of murals, not that shows that, yeah, they were in motion and doing a lot of motion. You find murals with musicians. You find murals with dancers. Another murals that shows their funerals that also had some ceremonial movements and stuff like that. Even some people say there were like some murals with yogi forms. And exactly like Gabrielle said, they were in sequence. They were not just like a portrait that is static and that's it. If you read it, you can on the walls, you actually read a story. And exactly like Gabrielle said, those were like storyboards in a way. And storyboards is the essence, I would guess, of moving images. You find, for example, other murals like Ramses II in the Battle of Kadesh. They're like quite a movement. And for example, the horses or their carts or battle carts, they are, you know, depicted in motion, meaning like in a position where that tries to show some movement. And that was, you know, even in, let's say, in Tutankhamun's furniture as well. If some of the furniture had some drawings or paintings, and they were also had paintings that narrates the story. It was more than documentation, even. It was something, let's say, holy in a way, to narrate stories in sequence, exactly like Gabrielle said.
Fascinating. Now, Mariam, do you think non-Western art has influenced contemporary art?
Absolutely. I studied history in a way that always is always focused on European movements, especially like the modern and the contemporary movements. And that's like gives us the impression that there is like a culture hegemony in art. And especially modern art was highly influenced by non-Western art. If we let's start from Africa, for example. You have you know, actually artists like Matisse, Paul Gauguin, and definitely Picasso. They were all inspired by African art and the idea of primitivism and how to go back again and start, you know, abstracting things and not necessarily illustrating things as it is, you know. So they were all were able to actually find a new, let's say, breakthrough in art because they went back to African art, for example. So yeah, definitely the non-Western art did influence the art movements in modern and contemporary art movements. It definitely influenced it big time.